What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another What's Cooking. Please make sure you are liking and subscribing to our channel to see all the recipes we have coming for you in the future. When you think barbecue, you almost have to think pulled pork, and that's exactly what we got going on here. So whether you just got your first smoker, your first Traeger, your first big green egg, whatever you got going on, I would definitely point you in the direction of doing a pulled pork for your first recipe. This recipe is super simple. We're gonna do a brine with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, a tablespoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of apple juice, and a full cup of water. We've got a 6-pound bone-in pork shoulder or a 6-pound bone-in Boston butt, either or, whatever your grocery store sells it as, and 2 of my favorite rubs. We've got the Holy Gospel and we've got Holy Voodoo. These are 2 of my favorite rubs. One's got a little sweet, one's a little heat, but this is our super simple recipe, so let's get started. All right, let's get to mixing this brine. We're gonna wanna mix this as well as we can, making sure all of the ingredients are dissolved into our apple juice. After that, we're gonna inject it with our Mr. Barbecue injector. You can use any injector that you'd like. This Mr. Barbecue one works great. When it comes to injecting, don't be afraid. It is super simple. All we wanna do is go in a 1-by-1 pattern across the whole pork butt, making sure all areas are injected and full of juices. And you can see as I'm injecting this, you can see the juices come out and the meat just kind of plump up a little bit, knowing that there's a nice pocket of juices in there, and you can then move on to the next part of the butt. So when it comes to seasoning, I like putting down layers. What I mean by that is I will put a layer down of the gospel and then come back with the Holy Voodoo on top. So I get a sweet layer on the bottom and the heat is on the outside. And when it comes to this prep tub, you cannot go wrong with this Drip Easy prep tub. It keeps everything clean and I thoroughly enjoy using it. When it comes to the Cook 225 Super Smoke on our Traeger Ironwood 885, you'll be using the SCHEELS Outdoors pork and poultry pellets. It's a great value at a 40-pound bag. We will also be using the Fireboard so I can monitor this as the day goes on. And I love monitoring this from my phone, and I can see both these probes and see kind of the trends of where we've been going. For the first 3 hours, every hour on the hour, we are going to be spraying with apple juice. The reason why we're doing this is to set up a nice crust, a nice bark, and to get the color and the look of the pork to where we want it before we throw it in some tin foil. Now I'm going to stop talking and let you enjoy this beautiful pork footage. All right, after we get our crust to the spot that we like it, we're gonna throw it in the tinfoil pan, turn up our Traeger to 275, toss some butter on it, and toss some brown sugar on the top as well. This is just gonna kind of work the sweetness into the bark and also into the juices. And by putting tinfoil over the top is gonna speed up the cook. We're shooting for 205, but more importantly, we're shooting for probe tender, so we know it is going to shred easy. We'll take this thing off the grill, we're gonna put it in a cooler, and we're gonna let it sit. And after it's sit for an hour at least, we can then slap it on our cutting board and start pulling. And holy cow, this thing pulled beautifully. There's nothing better than digging your hands into your pulled pork and it just shredding perfectly. It is just a great feeling. This hat's kind of fire, isn't it? Our friend JP stopped by, and you can see by his face, he was loving it. I'm gonna top this thing off with Beer's Black Dog Barbecue, and I can't wait to dig into this. All right, I can't wait to get into this, but first we gotta cover a few things. The first thing, don't be afraid to put some extra voodoo on the top of this after you pull it if you do want a little extra heat added to your flavor. I ended up adding Beer's Black Dog Barbecue. I think it's one of the best barbecues that we sell, and I put it on my pulled pork every time. The last thing, I think sometimes the most overlooked thing, is you can add the drippings from that pan back over your meat if you don't have as moist as meat as you'd like. So don't forget about that after you pulled your pork. Please like and comment if you did give this recipe a try, and subscribe to our channel to see all the recipes that we have coming down the line. We got some good ones coming up. So I forgot to mention, I also added pickles to mine. I think you have to do it on a pulled pork sandwich. The crust on this is perfect. You've got the heat of the voodoo and the sweetness of the Holy Gospel that just work perfectly together. You add that butter and that brown sugar in, and you've just got the absolute perfect amount of flavor in that crust. It's just an explosion. That's it. Pulled pork, one of the easiest things you can do. Definitely the recipe that you need to try if it's the first time you're firing up that smoker. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.